we're growing their foods, or just a number of different things. Maybe we just can't get some of the nutrients. Taking the LLV is sort of a way to ensure that we're getting everything that we need. Well, as a health coach, I like to really help people to learn how to pay attention to their body and how they feel, okay? I know that when I'm eating the way that I normally eat, then I don't necessarily need to be on a full dose of LLV. I get away just fine with a half dose. So taking 2 of each of the pills daily gets along just fine for me. So the way that I discovered that, though, is that I took a full dose for probably a year. And then once I started feeling a lot better from when I had first started, I started backing them down and seeing, does this have an effect on how I feel? Do I still feel really, really good? And the answer was yes. And so I backed it all the way down to a single pill a day. And then I started recognizing, okay, my issues in my hands started coming back. My tummy started doing some weird things. And so I bumped it back up. And there are times in the year, especially right now, where, you know, we're going to be exposed to germs a little bit more frequently, or when we are exposed, we know we've been exposed, then it's important to go ahead and boost that up. But that's it's sort of a sliding scale process in a way where we can kind of shift things around and change it up, you know, according to how our bodies are feeling on any given moment. Okay. So Terrazyme is the other one. I absolutely adore this product. If you are someone who really just sort of struggles with eating really clean food on a 100% basis, which, let's face it, even I don't do that. So having Terrazyme is sort of my cheat. It's the supplement that I can use when I know that I'm going to eat something that is not going to agree with my stomach. It's something that I can use to help me to digest foods that I know my body struggles with. So for me, I know I struggle with gluten. I know I struggle with red meat. I know I struggle with potatoes. Living in Idaho, I can't tell you how much that hurts me to say. So it's just one of those things where I know that if I'm gonna eat something that's gonna hurt my stomach, then taking 1 or 2 Terrazymes at that meal is definitely gonna be a plus, okay? The next thing is probiotics. Our PB Assist is absolutely outstanding. But I wanted to talk a little bit about probiotics because not all of them are created equally. I don't know if you guys use our PB Assist or not. Anybody, by a raise of hands, who does so far? Excellent. That's awesome. So here's what's really, really cool about our PB Assist is that it comes with, in fact, let me see if I have one sitting right here. Yes, I do. All right, I'm going to just show you what this looks like because it's kind of funny looking, but you can see there's a little green pill within the pill, and there's like a jelly sort of stuff inside there. That liquid that's inside that first capsule is a prebiotic. And so what that does is it actually goes into our stomach. It sort of prepares the environment to receive the probiotic that's in the green capsule, but also it kind of helps our stomach acid to sort of chill out a little bit, to give that green one a little bit more time to get down into our intestines where it needs to be, okay? If we take a probiotic, or as we are consuming like even probiotic rich foods, which is a really, really great thing to do as well, then our stomach acid is definitely going to kill off a lot of it before it gets down where it needs to be, which is in our intestines. So when the green one bursts down in our intestines, it's just like having a little party down there, and it's like making everybody, you know, doing its glorious thing. But what's cool is that it has 5 different strains of probiotic. And I learned this in a training that I was in, gosh, a while ago, where if we're taking, say, 1 strain of probiotic instead of all 5, then that 1 strain can actually start to like overtake the others that are in our body. So with the food and with the different ways that we might get our different probiotics, if we have 1 strain that's overpowering the rest, it's gonna think it's boss and it's gonna try to eliminate the others. It's sort of a survival factor, okay? So it's really, really good to take our PB Assist because it's got all of the different strains. So we're growing each one of them simultaneously together so they can sort of coexist peacefully and happily together. I actually really, really like to take the PB Assist Junior occasionally as well. Not because it's so different or anything like that, but it sort of is. It's kind of something that you can use to, I don't know, just sort of shake things up a little bit every so often. And I also actually sometimes use the chewable A to Z vitamins. So if I'm in a hurry and I like to take my LLV with food. But if I am running out the door and I haven't had something to eat where I can like sit there and just really kind of focus, then I'll grab the A to Z's just because I know that it's got something in better than nothing at all. So let's see, what else was I going to share? Does anyone have questions so far?
I do have a few questions for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, these are kind of, I don't know if they're old wives' tales about probiotics or what, but these are just some things that in my own probiotic journey that I've wanted to know about. One, refrigerated probiotics. I've always heard that if your probiotic is not refrigerated, you're just buying junk and there's no point in it. And then here comes doTERRA. Now, I take it every day, and so does everybody in my family, but that's always that nagging question in the back of my mind. So I'll let you answer that one, and then I have two more.
Okay, well, I think that it really sort of depends on the type and the the way that it's delivered to you, right? So if you were ever to take the probiotic, our PB Assist apart, there's powder inside the green capsule. And so whereas the refrigerated versions that I've seen and had sort of limited experience with in the past, generally they're liquid versions. And so there's sort of a preservative thing to kind of keep in mind. I really think that, I don't know, if you're using a probiotic and if it's not refrigerated, it's crappy. I've totally heard that too. And I honestly kind of feel like you kind of have to go back to what we started with in the very beginning in paying attention to how you feel when you take it. I feel different. I feel better when I take our products, all of them. And I cannot tell you how much time and money I spent on products before I found doTERRA, where I feel like I took them like crazy. I was peeing bright orange when I went to the bathroom, and I never really felt different. I didn't feel better. I didn't feel like it was doing anything. And so I felt really gypped, especially once I found doTERRA, because I'm like, seriously? Like, this stuff is really working for me. And I feel like I've wasted all this money and time. I can't tell you guys how much I researched all that stuff. And literally, I used to buy this one. It was from a pharmacist, $250 a bottle, one bottle, and these giant horse pills. And they were like, oh my gosh, this stuff is seriously the top of the line. Like, you're going to grow wings and be able to fly if you take this stuff. Like, they promoted it like crazy. But I swear I was on that stuff for probably a year before all of this. And I never, ever felt like I did when I started LLV. So great question. What's the next one?
The next one is, so I have a tendency, I'll put all my LLV, well, half those LLV, probiotic, and Terrazyme all in one handful, throw it down. Is there a benefit to taking the probiotic alone without food, since it does have that special enzyme in it?
I don't think so. I mean, it really just, let's face it, if there is, I really don't think so. But I feel like we have to observe real life sometimes, right? As busy parents, most of us are probably moms here, right? Some of us have kids running around. Mine are a little bit older, but even still, like, we're running all the time. I feel like it's better to take them when it's convenient for you than to not take them at all. I don't think that there's, the one thing that I would say is if you're using the GX Assist, don't take that together with the PB, because that does, with the oregano, it will actually kill off the good probiotics before it has an opportunity to help you. So taking the PBs 2 hours or so after, I generally will treat that with any antibiotic. So I treat oregano exactly the same way that I would like a prescription antibiotic, and do the PB Assist 2 hours afterwards. And then that way you're at least given that a little bit of time to work its magic.
Okay.
Does that help you? I'm sorry. I don't think there's any problem with doing that together.
I was really hoping that that's what you were going to say, because the idea of spacing them any farther apart than throw this down and get out the door sounds a little overwhelming at this point.
Exactly.
Okay, third question. I know that you mentioned that there are 5 strains inside the PB Assist. Did I hear that right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. What is the benefit of switching up probiotic strains, or is having that 5 variety inside the PB Assist plenty to keep your body guessing and thriving?
There's probably hundreds of different strains of probiotics. And so I think that the 5 that are in there are the main ones. They're the probably the most seen ones in our bodies. And so that's why they're the ones that doTERRA chose. Changing it up, if you feel like doing that, I don't see a problem with it. I think that we go back to what we sort of talked about with the probiotics, in that if there's a particular strain where, say, you're matching up one that's in the PB Assist, and so that one strain is getting sort of double duty, or do you know what I'm saying? Whereas maybe the others are being neglected and you're introducing new ones. Is there an opportunity to boost one without boosting them all? And honestly, it goes back again to really paying attention to how you feel. If you start noticing that, oh my goodness, something's not quite right here, then to make some adjustments. But I don't see any problem with shaking it up a little bit. I think that offering variety to our system on a regular basis, no matter really what we're doing, is good, just to keep it guessing. But the beauty with oils and the beauty with the foods that we have and stuff like that is, I think we kind of inadvertently get to do that without really trying. So it's good.
As you were talking, I was just thinking about, like, what else am I doing that has, a probiotic in it? And I was thinking, I drink kombucha fairly regularly, and we've got this, and we've got. And so I think I've answered my own question there, but that is enough variety, and like keeping like the baseline steady with the PB Assist.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I listened to a seminar specifically about probiotics from a gentleman one time, and it was really, really interesting to me what his views were on the importance and like even the frequency of probiotics. Like, he was explaining that when his daughters began having babies, and these little tiny humans are being brought into the world, and he immediately had them begin a daily probiotic regimen, even like right born. And I thought, for me, it was a little bit unusual because I'm a breastfeeding mom, and so I felt like that as long as mom was taking it, then my opinion has always been that for a brand newborn baby that was good. But he had a very different view on that. And so it was just interesting to sort of be contradicted with regard to that. But it was definitely one of those things where his reasoning was because now you've got this little human that is experiencing the chemicals all around us. They're experiencing, who knows what all that could be, having an effect on their little immune systems, whether it's the cleaners and stuff that we have in our homes. And, if you're not like a total Nazi, like I kind of am a little bit with my cleaning supplies, then I encourage you to research and seek out things that you can do, especially if you've got babies or pets, because it's very interesting how some of these things can have an effect on us, and we don't even know it. We don't even realize. So anyway, yeah, you bring up some really, really great questions. Anyone else? Or Amanda, do you have any more?
No, I'm good, but you're in good company with the infant gut flora thing. I swabbed the birth canal and swabbed it inside my baby's mouth. So we're in total weirdo probiotic town together.
You brought up also another really good point in terms of like what kind of foods have probiotics. So you already mentioned kombucha and kefir. For those of you that maybe don't have those things or consume them, they are just, kefir is a probiotic drink that uses grains. And I actually prefer water kefir to milk. I don't consume cow's milk at all. And so, but you can make milk kefir. I think that I've never had it, but my understanding is really that it's just sort of like a liquid version of like a yogurt, similar to yogurt. So, which yogurt is another one. You want to be really careful in terms of yogurt. The Yoplait high sugar content yogurts is garbage. Don't even waste your money on that. You're not getting anything out of that other than a whole lot of sugar. It's like glorified candy. Making your own of the kefir and kombucha is super, super good. Let's see. Janet says, is Greek yogurt okay? Honestly, it is. I actually really, really prefer just plain. I'll use plain Greek yogurt, and then if I want to flavor it, I'll drizzle it with some local raw honey, throw some granola, berries, things like that, make my own little parfait with it, and I really, really like that. You can make your own yogurt. In fact, does anyone here have an Instant Pot? It's so on my Christmas list. I don't have one yet, but I have a friend who actually just got one and made her first batch of yogurt with it, and she said it is magical. So if you guys have one, then send me the recipe, because I'm seriously asking Santa for an Instant Pot. Let's see. Janet, you're putting good questions up here. Carb Master Vanilla. Let's see. I'm not sure what you're asking on that last one. So then kombucha is a little bit different. If you're not familiar with that one is a fermented tea. And what's interesting about that is that it grows what's called a SCOBY on the top. And for those of you who are home birthers, it looks a little bit like a placenta. So if you're kind of gun shy about that, it does look a little bit funny, but it's so good. It's so, so good. And it's so beneficial to, I don't drink soda. I used to, but I don't now. I haven't for quite a long time. And when you can make some of these fermented drinks and the natural carbonation that kind of happens, it's sort of like a natural soda that you get to drink, and it's really, really yummy. You can flavor it how you want. Okay, so Janet, the Instant Pot. So it's an electric pressure cooker. And so you can make, oh my goodness, a couple of my friends have been posting like crazy. Joanna Sacco is actually a gal that's in our group here, and she has been posting like you can make roasted chicken and dinner in like 30 minutes in an Instant Pot. If any of you here have one, please feel free to share some of your creations, because I think it's amazing to me how quickly you can cook with it and put on like a full-on homemade gourmet meal in literally minutes. So my big thing is cook homemade, because you're in total control of your ingredients and can put in it whatever you like. Crock pots are great too, but the Instant Pot is a pretty amazing concept, based on like the old-fashioned pressure cookers. My grandma used to use a pressure cooker for her canning. And so it's definitely helpful. The other thing is you can do fermented vegetables. What is oh gosh, the name of it just escaped me. It's
kimchi.
Cabbage, kimchi, thank you. Yes. So I've made some of that a little bit. A friend of mine actually gave me a jar of it as well. You can flavor it a lot of different ways and make it however you like. But there are a lot of different things. So basically just fermented stuff. So the other thing though that you kind of have to be careful with in terms of fermenting is you don't necessarily want to let it mold. So you have to be very careful in terms of how you grow it and let it kind of work its magic. Any other questions?
I wanted to just ask, with the LLV, it says that you take each of them like 4 of each a day. So it's okay to split those up then? Like
Absolutely. In fact, at convention this year, Dr. Hill actually gave us a protocol of what he suggests in terms of how to take them. He suggests doing 1 of each in the morning, like right after breakfast, maybe 2 of each at lunchtime, and then 1 of each at dinner time. So you've got it spread out over the course of the whole day. I know people who have taken them all at once in the morning, and I think that you're going to get benefit, but the reality is your body is going to digest out what it can't handle by the time you reach the end of the day. So if you are someone who notoriously hits that afternoon slump, and which sort of is why you double up at lunchtime and do the double dose at lunch, then it kind of helps to spread them out a little bit because of that little like energy factor that they possess, and it helps you kind of get through that afternoon hump. They energize me enough that I have to be very conscientious of how late I take them. We generally eat dinner around 5:30 or 6 most nights, so it's not usually a problem for me to do it that way. But if we're running around and it's later, then I'll actually have to maybe skip my night dose because they kind of keep you awake at night. So you just kind of have to play with it and find the schedule that's going to match best for you. But splitting them up is actually really, really ideal.
Okay, thank you.
Karina's posting about
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay, sorry. My audio is not working on my computer, so I'm like speaking through my phone. I was wondering if you had any suggestions on children and how to implement this. So my son is tube fed. He has a neurological condition, and the gut immotility and like all of the neurons that are in your gut really affect things like seizures and ventricle pressure for him. And so I'm trying to implement some of this stuff. It's kind of, I can be sneaky because he is tube fed, so I can, you know, grind it up and put it in there instead of having him like stomach, the kimchi or whatever.
Kimchi, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that, you know,
know
honestly, where he's a special case, it's one of those situations where you as the mom get to kind of play detective. You get to kind of try and figure out, and I know you do this, so you get to kind of figure out what's going to help him, what's going to work. But for something like that, you know, small doses, I think would be important. Kimchi is one where, like, generally it's going to be, I don't know that he would love it. I mean, and not that he's tasting it, so it's not really the same thing. But we have to sort of be careful with situations like that where his tummy is maybe a little bit sensitive. So vinegary sorts of products. So the kimchi tastes a lot like sauerkraut. And so it could be a little bit more harsh. So it might be maybe more gentle to do something like a water kefir, or, you know, some people can have struggles. I have struggles with dairy. So yogurt, I have to, if it's a good plain Greek yogurt, I do fine. But like plain dairy, cheese, some of that stuff really, really hurts my stomach. So just, you know, how old is he?
So he's 3.5, and I think he definitely has some dairy sensitivities. The formula he takes through the food, through the feeding tube has dairy in it. But he can have like soft textured stuff, and anytime I've tried to give him yogurt or milk or anything, he just throws it up immediately. So yeah, I would steer clear of dairy for sure then.
If you have the desire to maybe liquefy some of the PV Assist Junior, just maybe adding a tiny little bit of water and then putting that through the feeding tube, I would start small. I don't know that I would necessarily start with a full tube of that, and just see if you can notice a difference in how he feels, and ask him. I mean, he's still pretty little, so it might be tricky for him to do this, but have him learn how to become very aware of the feelings that he experiences when he eats, because I think that we kind of get trained out of that, you guys. It's one of those things where I feel like, you know, I work so much with adults, and they've been trained out of expressing their feelings in terms of like, well, I eat this food and it makes me feel like crap, but I'm going to eat it anyway because that's just the way it's always been. So if we can teach our kids to use their voice and be okay with what they say, then it's really, really important. But yeah, I think for him, I would start slow with maybe the probiotic, the PB assists in the little powder, and then if he's not already doing the A to Z chewable, then or even the LLV if you open up the capsules. The Omega is going to be a little bit tricky, so the IQ Mega would definitely be the route I would take with that. But again, you know, starting really, really slow, because generally the problem that you'll see first is loose stool. So if there's an issue with what you're trying, that'll be the first thing you see.
Okay. I feel like he's very constipated all the time.
Okay.
Loose stool might even make me happy.
Yeah. That's what I would think I would try, is just, you know, maybe start with a quarter or even a half of an A to Z capsule on a daily basis. And you can split it up, do, you know, a quarter of it in the morning and a quarter of it afternoon or something. And then even do that with the PB, half of a tube in the morning and the other half in the afternoon. And maybe just see how he does. If it softens things up a little bit, I'm sure that'd be a whole lot more comfortable than how he's feeling. So she's suggesting the Digest Sand Touch roller is working well for a friend she knows that has that as well. And gut shots, that's a good one too, Karina. Pickle juice. Everybody talks about pickle juice.
That's me. That's not Karina.
Oh, you got your hair tied up and it looks like Karina.
I'm in my swimming suit, so I'm trying to stay covered.
Oh gosh. Well, and see, that's another thing. You look just like Karina because she's always wearing her tank tops. That's funny.
No cleavage.
That's funny. So yes. Any other questions, comments? This has been really awesome, you guys. You brought some great conversation to the training today. If I can help any of you with anything, you're welcome to friend me on Facebook and reach out. You can follow me on my health coach page on Facebook as well, and my website. So I think that's all then. Romy, if you want to go ahead and stop the recording.